Today I want to share something that still feels like a little miracle. Not long ago, I told you about a patient of mine, a man whose kidneys weren't just improving, they came back to life. His GFR didn't just rise, it climbed all the way to 98. That's the kind of kidney function you'd expect in someone half his age. And how did he do it? How did he turn things around so dramatically? This is the part that stunned everyone, even me. He simply lowered his protein intake. That's it. He didn't go vegan overnight or cut out every single food he loved. He still enjoys a bit of low-fat dairy. And yet look at his results. My inbox immediately overflowed. So many of you wrote to me, asking, how is this possible? What's the secret? So today, I want to sit down with you, pull back the curtain, and talk honestly about what truly matters. We're diving into the real renal diet, the one that actually helps your kidneys recover. No more confusion, no more fear. Just clarity, and a plan that supports you. Our first question comes from someone named Heaven Culture 1234, who asked, do you have to cut out all protein, or can you just lower it to around 20 grams per meal? This is the question so many of you hesitate to ask, so let me answer it gently but truthfully. If you're living with CKD and you're not on dialysis yet, the closer you can get to no protein, the better. I know that sounds extreme, but I promise you it's one of the most reliable ways to see your numbers move in the right direction. Avoid protein the way you'd avoid an exhausting errand on your only day off. Avoid it like that awkward conversation you're not ready to have. I'm not exaggerating. In my entire career, I've almost never met a CKD patient who was eating too little protein. But I've seen countless people improve the moment they cut it way down. If your goal is real healing, if you want to watch your labs shift in the right direction, this is where the change begins. This question came from a video one of my patients shared with you, the same patient who made a truly incredible recovery. His GFR climbed from 54 all the way to 98. A transformation like that changes a person's life. And what's even more surprising is that he didn't cut out protein completely. He simply lowered it, especially the animal-based sources. So it's completely fair to wonder, if he improved so much by just reducing protein, why can't everyone just stick to 20 grams per meal? Why go so low? The answer lies in where he started. My patient was beginning at a GFR of 54, just a few steps away from 60. And 60 is an important number. It's the line we use to say, your kidneys are doing well enough that you don't need major restrictions. Someone with a GFR above 60 can often tolerate moderate protein without hurting their kidneys. But here's the part the numbers don't show. Your kidneys aren't a switch that flips on or off. It's not, GFR 61, great. GFR 59, disaster. It's a spectrum. It's nuanced. It's personal. And that's why a one-size-fits-all diet never works. Some people, like the man in that video, are standing right at the edge of the cliff. One small adjustment like reducing animal protein gives them the step back they need to regain stability. But most people are not standing at the edge. They find out they have CKD only when they're already halfway down the canyon, already tired, already symptomatic, already struggling. In that situation, a tiny step isn't enough. You don't need a nudge, you need a lifeline. And that lifeline is a strict protein-cutting approach. So the general rule still holds true: if you're living with CKD, you must be firm and protective with your diet. Cut protein as much as you possibly can, and shift your meals toward clean, whole, plant-based foods that support your kidneys instead of stressing them. Let's go deeper into what that actually looks like for you. Let's take a question from Laval Nutrition. What do you think about using probiotic foods like sauerkraut? Laval, thank you for asking this truly. Probiotic-rich foods are one of the most overlooked tools for healing kidney disease. When your gut becomes healthier, your toxic load drops dramatically, and suddenly your kidneys can breathe again. The change can feel almost magical. Sauerkraut especially is a little powerhouse. It's simply fermented cabbage, so it's incredibly low in calories, full of vitamins and minerals, and perfectly safe for a renal diet. And when it's made the right way, it carries multiple strains of probiotics, especially lactobacillus, that have real, measurable benefits for your kidneys. But there is a catch, and it's a big one. Sauerkraut can be a blessing or basically useless, depending on how it's made. Most people don't know this. If you're going to bring sauerkraut into your diet, you need to look for the magic words on the label: live cultures, unpasteurized, or probiotic. Brands that truly contain probiotics, make sure you can't miss it. They highlight it on the jar because it makes the product more expensive. If the label doesn't say those things, then the sauerkraut has been pasteurized. And pasteurization kills everything, the good bacteria included. What's left? Just salty, lifeless cabbage. No probiotic effect. No gut healing. No kidney benefit. But if you find the right kind, the living kind, and you stick to small amounts, just 1 to 2 tablespoons a day, it can quietly and powerfully transform your kidney health from the inside out. I believe so deeply in the power of probiotics for kidney protection that I spent years creating my own formula. If you want all the benefits of fermented foods, only stronger, cleaner, and without any of the hassles, you should try my Renobiotic. It's the first probiotic designed with one purpose in mind: to protect your kidneys. Nothing else takes priority. Here's why I'm so passionate about this. When you're living with kidney disease, a high-quality probiotic isn't a bonus, it's a lifeline. And that's exactly why I created Renobiotic. It combines kidney protective strains that help neutralize toxins before they ever reach your kidneys, and it's low FODMAP, which means even sensitive or irritated digestive systems can handle it comfortably. So the next time you order your Rena Fiber from renobiotic.co, do something extra loving for your kidneys and add a bottle of Renobiotic to your cart. My patients don't just notice the kidney benefits, they tell me their whole digestion feels lighter, calmer, and more balanced. For many of them, it feels like their gut finally got the reset it's been begging for. Alright, let's move on to our next question about protein and the renal diet. This one comes from Wing Chun Science, who asked, "My wife is on peritoneal dialysis. They keep telling us she absolutely needs more protein because her albumin is 3.6. What can we actually do to raise her albumin?" Thank you, Mr. Wing Chun Science, for asking this. Let's talk for a moment about what serum albumin really is and why it matters. Albumin measures the amount of usable protein circulating in your bloodstream, protein your body can access immediately to heal, repair, and keep you strong. It's incredibly important, not just for people on dialysis, but for anyone managing kidney disease. Now, the advice your wife received, eat more protein, is technically correct on paper. Dialysis does remove some protein from the blood, and so the standard recommendation has always been, just eat more. More protein in, more protein circulating, problem solved, right? If only it worked that way. This is the kind of oversimplified guidance that comes from outdated nutrition training. One lecture, one slide, and suddenly it becomes universal advice for decades. The truth is this: low albumin in dialysis patients is rarely caused by not eating enough protein. The real villain, far more common, far more destructive, is chronic inflammation. And guess what? Eating more meat doesn't fix inflammation. In many cases, it can actually make things worse, creating a cycle where albumin stays low no matter how much protein you add. So here's my advice for you, for your wife, and for anyone struggling with low serum albumin: stop chasing the symptom. Go after the root cause. Even patients on peritoneal dialysis rarely need huge amounts of extra protein unless they're rapidly losing weight. Protein deficiency is almost never the real issue. Find what's triggering the inflammation. Address that and the albumin begins to rise naturally, without forcing the body to handle more than it can process. Alright, next question. This one comes from Solo Debris. If you're already on dialysis, is there still any hope of reversing it? Can you ever get off the machine? This is a question that sits heavy on the heart, and I'm glad you asked it. The truth is, yes, in some cases, people have been able to come off dialysis. There are documented stories of patients who, with the right doctor and the right protocol, safely regained enough kidney function to no longer need treatments. And honestly, even more common are the heartbreaking cases where someone was pushed into dialysis too early, misdiagnosed, misunderstood, or simply not given all the options. It happens far more often than most people realize. But I also need to speak to you with complete honesty. Coming off dialysis is not typical. It's not something most people should expect once dialysis has truly begun. For most patients, the only real escape from dialysis comes through a transplant. So if you're already on dialysis, the goal shifts a little. Instead of trying to repair the kidneys, you focus on supporting your body as a whole: your strength, your energy, your immune system, your quality of life. And in this stage, the usual low-protein renal diet actually changes. Dialysis patients often do better with slightly more protein, not huge amounts, but small portions of clean, high-quality animal protein like egg whites, lean fish, or gentle cuts of meat. It can help you stay strong. And yes, this ties into the earlier question about albumin. It's the same principle. Now, on to the next question from Isagani Baria, and this one goes straight to the core. Please tell me what kind of diet I need to follow to avoid dialysis. Isagani, thank you for asking this. It's one of the most important questions anyone with CKD can ask. And honestly, I could create a full 45-minute documentary and still barely touch all the details. But here's the truth: I can't tell you exactly what you should eat. I don't know your medical history. I don't know if you have diabetes, whether you're on dialysis yet, if you're trying to lose weight, or if you need to gain strength. Every kidney story is different. But there is one thing I can tell you with absolute certainty: if your goal is to avoid dialysis, you need to start following a renal diet immediately. Not next week. Not after the holidays. Not when things calm down. Kidney disease doesn't magically get better on its own. It's one way unless you intervene. And the sooner you take action, the more power you have to change the outcome. Start today. Your future kidneys will thank you. You're already walking the right path. You're here, watching these videos, asking thoughtful questions, searching for real answers. That curiosity, that hunger is one of your greatest strengths. Keep it alive. Don't let it fade. Every smart, careful choice you make about what goes into your body moves you closer to healing. I've worked with hundreds of people who took their first steps just like you, learning from videos, teaching themselves, slowly piecing things together. And you know what? Most of them absolutely master the basics. And those basics alone can create changes that feel nothing short of life-changing. But here's something I want you to hear clearly: you don't have to do this alone. If you feel lost, if you feel overwhelmed, if the fear starts to creep in, please reach out for help. Find someone who truly understands kidney nutrition, not someone who skimmed a nutrition chapter decades ago. Someone who will look at your numbers, your symptoms, your medical history, your goals, and design a plan that fits you like a glove. Because the truth is, generic Google advice will only get you so far. At some point, you hit a wall. A personalized renal diet, built for your unique body, can take you farther than you ever imagined, faster, safer, and with results that feel like a second chance. Our next question comes from Sarah Almond. She asks, my protein and creatinine are now normal. Can I have half of a sardine with vegetables? Sarah, that is amazing. Congratulations, your kidneys are coming back to life. And the fact that your proteinuria is normal too? That's huge. You can have a normal creatinine level and still be leaking protein like a dripping faucet, so seeing both numbers settle down means real healing is happening inside your body. Now, let's get to your question. I'm assuming you've been through kidney disease before. Most people don't worry about half a sardine unless they've fought hard to get their kidneys back. So, can someone who's restored their kidney function gently reintroduce a little protein? In many cases, yes. If your GFR has risen above 60 and it stays there, slowly increasing your protein intake can be both safe and healthy. Don't make sudden changes. Let your body feel stable. Let your labs stay steady. The kidneys don't like big swings or sudden surprises. Move carefully, thoughtfully, step by step. If you retest in about 3 months and your numbers are still strong and steady, then yes, adding a small amount of fatty fish like sardines is perfectly okay. In fact, it can even be beneficial. So go ahead, Sarah. Enjoy that little piece of sardine. You worked for this moment, and you deserve it. Alright, let's take a little breather and have some fun with a comment from a user named Maurici56. Here's what he wrote: you lost me. I was vegan for 7 years and gained 40 pounds, became pre-diabetic, and developed kidney stones. Such BS. Oh no. I'm crushed. My terrible vegan propaganda apparently caused someone to gain weight, get kidney stones, and nearly fall apart. What have I done? Should I retire now? Stop hugging trees? Give up on saving the spotted owl? I was this close to doing all of that. But here's the thing: whenever I respond to comments, I always click on the person's profile. It helps me understand who I'm talking to, especially when the username sounds like a Wi-Fi password. So I checked Maurici50six's profile, and you know what I found? A wall of keto videos. Just bacon, butter, and carbs are evil everywhere. So no, this person did not get kidney stones from a vegan diet. This isn't a real story. It's just someone trying to stir things up and scare people away from eating in a way that supports their kidneys. And just to be clear, a renal diet is not the same thing as a vegan diet. They're completely different worlds. So here's the takeaway: the next time someone online claims that vegetables are poison or that plant-based foods will destroy your kidneys, just take a moment and check their profile. It usually tells you everything you need to know. Let's move on to something genuinely helpful. A wonderful question from Elena Kendi. She asked, can I drink calamansi juice instead of lemon? Elena, thank you. Your question opens the door to one of the most underrated fruits for kidney protection, calamansi, the tiny powerhouse that people in the Philippines have been using forever. Calamansi brings almost everything lemon does to the table. It's bursting with vitamin C, rich in antioxidants, and packed with citric acid, the very compound that works like a shield against kidney stones. Truly. Research on kidney stone prevention shows that citric acid binds to urinary calcium and calcium oxalate crystals, stopping them from turning into stones. More citrus equals fewer stones. Simple math. And honestly, citrus fruits help your kidneys in ways far beyond just stone prevention. So if you live in the Philippines, or anywhere lemons cost a small fortune but calamansi grows everywhere, absolutely use calamansi juice. It's a perfect substitute. The only thing I want you to watch out for is this: make sure it's real juice from real fruit. Most bottled calamansi drinks are basically candy water loaded with sugar, artificial flavors, and other trash that will hurt your kidneys faster than a marketing team can say all natural. Now, on to the next question. This one's a classic. A viewer named Massa Films asked, which salt is healthier, pink Himalayan salt or regular salt? Great question. Let's break it down honestly. Regular table salt, the tip of a teaspoon, gives you about 590 milligrams of sodium. That's almost half your day's limit, gone instantly. And what else does it contain? Nothing. No minerals, no vitamins, just pure sodium. Okay, what about Himalayan salt? That beautiful pink jar people pay 5 times more for? Same story. A tiny sprinkle gives you around 570 milligrams of sodium, about 20 milligrams less than table salt. 20. Not even enough to matter. And aside from the tiny amount of rust, yes, iron oxide, that gives it its pink color, it still contains 0 meaningful minerals. They're the same thing. Table salt, Himalayan salt, smoked salt, black salt, Celtic salt, just different packaging for the same sodium overload. A very expensive fairy tale. And here's the painful truth: kidney patients who fall for these myths sometimes end up in dialysis without understanding why. You simply cannot protect your kidneys if you keep any salt in your daily routine. Pink, white, black, rainbow, it's all salt. That's all for today. Thank you for being here. Take care of yourself. God bless you.